Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
we televised.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See the mob, you better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, Internet. How is everybody this fine Sunday evening? It has been a while. Happy New Year. Good to see all of you. I've been taking a break. I guess the Niners won, so I guess people are happy about the sports ball thing. Maybe people will actually watch tonight because they're not watching said sports ball anymore. This is my first show in, I think, 5 weeks, and I've been, as Dan Bongino would put it, I've been black pilled. I've been one of the black pillars and haters. I think that's what he's calling people now. And yeah, there's just a lot of shit going on, and I haven't really wanted to do a stream, but I've been observing all of the different things that have been going on over the last month, and I've noticed that everything, literally everything, is getting viewed through a left-right paradigm. You're either on this side or you're on that side. There's no nuance with anything, and it's super frustrating because a lot of things are extremely nuanced, and I don't think they should be looked at through a conservative or liberal lens. Not everything. And I don't see enough people that are looking at things like that. It's okay to disagree with the person that you voted for and disagree with people that say whether you're on their team or not. That's one thing that Dan Bongino was recently saying, like, which team are you on? It's like, I'm not on any team. I'm on the team of the people. You know, it's frustrating. So a lot of stuff to get into, a ton of stuff to get into. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into all of it. Let's see. Check in with the chat here. Wally World, Danger, nice to see you guys. Special shout out to Danger. He's having a bit of a rough time. He lost someone close to him. So if you guys are watching, give Danger a digital hug, because it is not a fun thing to be going through. So I'm glad you're all here. There's a bunch of California stuff that I need to get into before I get to Iran, Venezuela, Argentina, Greenland, all sorts of crap going on. And I'm thinking at any time during the show, we may strike Iran. There's a whole, what looks like some sort of revolution going over there. I don't know if they're going to overthrow the regime or not. I don't know how much of this is organic and how much of it is actually some sort of color revolution type thing. Those two things are not necessarily mutually exclusive, which I'll also get into a little bit more later. So yeah, let's hop right into it. Let's go over to Kevin Kiley and talk about some of Gavin Newsom's shenanigans, shall we? Yeah. Danger, man. I'm sorry, bro. I don't know what else to say. I really don't. So Kevin Kiley came out, and there was a bill, which was Bill 2903, which would require transparency with homeless funding. And Gavin Newsom vetoed that bill. It passed the supermajority state assembly, the Democrat supermajority state senate, and Gavin vetoed the bill, and it's rather strange. So let's read it really quick here. Let me go to a different screen because you don't necessarily need to read along with me, but here we go. It says, to members of California State Assembly, I am returning Assembly Bill 2903 without my signature. This bill would require state agencies and departments administering homeless programs to report cost and outcome data annually to the California Interagency Council on Homelessness, using standardized procedures beginning September 1st, 2025. I will also require California ICH to compile and publicly release this data each year starting April 1st, 2026. While I fully support efforts to increase accountability and effectiveness of our state homelessness programs, similar measures are already in place. Legislation enacted as part of the 2024 Budget Act, Assembly Bill 166, Chapter 48, includes enhanced reporting requirements for the two of the state's largest homelessness programs. Specifically, Assembly Bill 166 mandates monthly reporting of outcomes for all rounds of homeless housing assistance and prevention programs, and annual outcome reporting for the encampment resolution grants program. These reports will be made publicly available by CaliBased. Additionally, I recently signed Assembly Bill 799, which addresses the same objectives as this bill in a more targeted and cost-effective manner. Okay, so that's Gavin's reasoning for why he didn't sign the bill, why he vetoed the bill that would require more transparency with funding of California homeless causes. Oh, my dog's rolling around behind me. So Kevin Kiley says, Newsom has actively tried to conceal waste and fraud in homeless spending. He vetoed a bill to require reporting on cost and outcome data, which had passed the legislature unanimously and was recommended by the state auditor after finding the state lost track of $24 billion. That's $24 billion over the last 5 years that they can't account for in homeless spending. But Gavin says, oh, we already got safeguards in place to provide transparency on the homeless industrial complex, because that's what it is. Just like the high-speed rail, it's a black hole. It's a black hole in California's budget. We have a massive deficit. Gavin's calling for more spending, but for some reason, he vetoed this bill that, again, keep in mind, this passed the Democrat supermajority state Senate and state assembly. And it's been endorsed by the auditor, by the state auditor. There's no reason for him to not pass this. It's not going to, I don't see how this would cost any additional money. It's just to provide additional transparency on where all of the funding for these homelessness causes are going. And keep in mind, ever since Gavin Newsom's gotten in office, we've spent billions and billions of dollars that we can't account for on reducing the homeless problem, and it has only skyrocketed since Gavin Newsom's gotten into office, and the money's disappeared. We've already seen a bunch of this fraud exposed with the Shangri-La guy who was paying off his credit card bill, taking trips to Tahiti or God knows where. He rented a Ferrari, a bunch of shenanigans. The Project Home Key, where they would take dilapidated hotels instead of building new structures for getting homeless people off the streets and putting them into housing, just giving homeless people a house without any drug requirements or anything like that. Project Home Key would take dilapidated hotels and apartment buildings that are, not being used, and they would essentially refurbish them, put kitchens in them, because that's one of the requirements for housing in California, that apartments have to have a kitchen, which many hotels don't. And renovate these hotels and then put people into them. A bunch of these hotels, they were essentially bought, and certain non-governmental organizations or contractors were going to refurbish these hotels, and then nothing happens with them, and nobody knows where the money goes. It's a scam. It's a giant scam, and it's a giant black hole for fraud and waste. And Gavin Newsom's just allowing it to happen. And then when transparency is called for, he vetoes the bill. And again, this is people that are on his team. These are Democrats calling for more transparency, and he vetoes the bill. Super suspicious. So that's going on. All right, so let's see here. Gemini, nice to see you. Hi, neighbor. Glad to watch you live. Hey, oh yeah. I think you're out in like the Capitola area or something like that, right? All right, let's keep going here. So bunch of California stuff to get into. So as you guys, I'm sure everyone saw over the weekend, we had, or was that on Friday? Yeah, I think it was Friday, where we had an ICE agent in Minnesota open fire on a woman. And so this is one of the things that I was talking about, viewing it through a left or a right lens. Like, if you're on the right, the lady was trying to kill the ICE officer and he was justified in shooting her. If you're on the left, she was just trying to get away and he should have shot out the tires. There's no middle ground. And not saying that everybody needs to meet in the middle on this, but you got to like look at it objectively. Was this liberal white lady, lesbian lady with a kid, was she really trying to run over the ICE officer? From all of the different angles that I looked at it, she wasn't. She wasn't trying to, because of the angle of what I think happened on this is, you guys can go watch the video. I'm not going to play the video. What I think happened on this is she panicked. She was trying to drive around the guy. It was icy. Her tires spun a little bit. And then when they re-engaged, it lunged at him. And ICE officer, who already had his gun drawn, also panicked. And he shot her in the face 3 times. So it was a tragedy. It was, I don't think she was trying to kill him. I think the ICE officer, I mean, some people say that he was struck by the vehicle. I didn't really see that, even in the body cam footage. I don't think it was necessary to fire actual rounds at her, but you know, you can have your own opinion on it. But anyway, I bring that up because Gavin Newsom is now requiring that ICE officers not wear a mask anymore. This is from Wall Street Apes. It says California Democrats are now taking away federal law enforcement officers qualified immunity if they wear a mask. Gavin Newsom is making ICE officers dox themselves or face financial and criminal legal punishments in court. A new state law took effect yesterday banning masks. How ironic. It does give officers a choice, though. If they wear a mask, they lose qualified immunity. That's the doctrine that protects officers from individual liability for their actions. The Trump administration has sued to block the bill, claiming revealing inside entities put them at risk. Federal law enforcement officers now have to show their faces while on duty. So, the guys probably won't like my opinion on this. I don't like qualified immunity as it is. So, that kind of doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, it's ironic how all the Democrats are saying that some people can't wear masks in California when they were absolute mask Nazis 5 years ago and they were trying to force everybody to wear masks. I got fired I almost ruined my career because I refused to wear a mask on a construction site. And this is all the way in February of 2023. So ironic. It's just ironic. Yeah, so I want to talk about that a little bit. Well, I have the footage of the actual incident in Minnesota, which I'm not going to play right now. But you guys, what is your opinion on the matter? I don't think he tried to. I don't think she was trying to kill the ICE. I don't think she was trying to run over the ICE officer. But could be wrong. Maybe she was. Gemini, yes, she was trying to run over the officer. I watched the angles in the video. She was ordered to get out of the vehicle and refused. She was grinning when she pushed the gas. Yeah, that's not what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing it. Could be wrong. Maybe she was, but I don't think she was trying to run him over. But let's say she was. Let's say she was trying to run him over. I mean, from the angles that I saw, the vehicle wasn't moving very fast, and the guy easily could have just sidestepped it. And you know, she didn't have very far that she could have ran. They could have. I don't know. I feel like shooting her in the face 3 times was a bit overkill, but you know, that's just me. But again, that's like if you're on the right, you have to look at it through, she was trying to kill the ICE officer and he was absolutely justified in shooting her in the face 3 times. If you're on the left, she was just an innocent protester and she was just trying to get away. And it's like everybody picks a team, and I'm obviously on the right. I'm more conservative leaning, but I don't think that the officer should have shot her in the face 3 times. Personally, I don't think so. All right, well, let's keep going. You guys, let me know. Let me know if you think I'm wrong in the chat. This is from Town Hall. Okay, so more fraud. So this is from townhall.com. Wow, the New York Post reposted whistleblowers. The New York Post reported whistleblowers have come forward alleging California may be losing up to $250 billion in the education system. It includes reports of fake community college applications and scamming students' aid funds. The fraud runs deep. Let's watch this quick clip here.
Whistleblowers tell GOP candidates that California could be losing $250 billion in the state's education system, including reports of fake community college applications, scamming student aid funds. Which brings us to a different kind of fraud. Ghost daycares. Whistleblowers tell...
And that's ironically, nobody's talking about the Somali daycares anymore in Minnesota. Everybody's talking about ICE. So nobody's more pleased that this happened than the Somali daycare runners, whatever you want to call them. That I have some opinions on that whole situation too that might bother some people. Here's so Benny Johnson announced that he's coming to California. He says fraud investigation announcement. Let me read the whole post here. It says next week our team is traveling to the fraud capital of the world, California. The fraud uncovered in Minnesota was very bad and led to the destruction of Tim Walz's career. But Gavin Newsom's California is far worse. The American taxpayer needs to see firsthand how criminal California fraud is robbing our nation blind. Here's just a glimpse of what we already know. State auditor found $70 billion in taxpayer funds have been lost, $24 billion spent on non-existent homelessness programs. It's not that they're non-existent, it's just they don't know where all the money went. There's tons of these NGOs that are receiving taxpayer funds. $18 billion poured into the non-existent high-speed rail. $32 billion in COVID relief funds were stolen. Yeah, I think that's a lot with the EDD, fraudulent employment development department. That's the unemployment stuff that were fraudulent claims that were made. $2.5 billion lost to SNAP fraud. Billions spent on rebuilding after Palisades fire. No homes built. We built we're building the trip right now. What do you want to see us cover? We need your help and suggestions. Reach out to us directly if you have any tips on fraud in California. The American taxpayers are pissed. We fight for them. All right. So Benny Johnson's coming back. He was here not too long ago. And so I don't know if you guys can see this, but Governor Newsom's press office reposts this from Benny Johnson and says, we'll make sure Grindr servers are ready, which is actually kind of a funny thing to say if you're not the governor of California news office. Like, first of all, aren't you supposed to be super pro LGBTQAI plus? Aren't you supposed to not make fun of the gays? Because that's what you're doing here. And it also seems to be implying that the California state government has control over the Grindr servers, which is strange. But okay, so Benny Johnson's coming to California to investigate fraud. All right, here's as you guys may have heard, David Sachs is talking about it a lot, where they're trying to do a wealth tax on billionaires, and there's been a lot of pushback on it. A lot of people are saying that they're going to leave California. A lot of wealthy people are saying that they're going to leave California if they implement this policy. And Ashley Zavala is here interviewing, who is this chick? Oh, Suzanne Jimenez with the SEIU. I don't know who this is, but let's listen to what she has to say. Because Ashley asked a very interesting question. It's like, even if this policy goes through and billionaires pay this tax, can California be trusted with more funding? With all the fraud and abuse that we're seeing already in California, can they be trusted with more funds? Is that the problem, that California just doesn't have enough money? Or is it waste, fraud, and abuse? Is that the actual problem? So let's see what Ashley Zavala says here.
Venture capitalists online, including David Sachs and Chamath Palihapitiya, have basically said state leaders can't be trusted, though, with even more money, pointing to some of the fraud and waste in our state budget. I mean, is that a fair point that they're making?
You know, the initiative is actually written in a way so that the money can only be used. It's put in a special fund. It could only be used for 90% of it has to go towards healthcare, and specifically services that were cut through HR 1.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. It's, they can be trusted because there's safeguards in place. There's guardrails because this money can only be used for healthcare. Well, need I remind you that the California's version of Medicare, it's Medi-Cal, is also available to illegal immigrants. You do not have to be an American citizen in order to get state-provided health insurance, Medi-Cal. You don't have to be here legally in order to get that. She's directly saying that this funding has to be used towards that funding that was cut, federal funding that was cut. So we're already seeing that a huge part of California's budget shortfall is because of this another giant money black hole that is state-run healthcare, and it's available to illegal immigrants. California being a sanctuary state, we have a lot of them. So state provided health care towards illegal immigrants is bleeding us dry in terms of the California state budget. And Trump cut funding for that. He's like, you guys aren't getting federal funding. If you're going to keep giving illegal immigrants health care, we're not going to give you federal funding. We're not going to do that. So now they're trying to impose a billionaire tax to basically fund the same program that they lost federal funding for. That's what I'm getting here. It's funny if you ask me. Oh, the federal government's not going to pay for it. Let's make the billionaires pay for it.
And so that means Medicaid. That also means subsidies for covered California or folks that are on the exchange. It also includes, services like home care services, nursing home services that seniors and veterans rely on. So this initiative is written in a way that the funding or the revenue that is raised can only go to these cuts that we've been talking about.
I guess my question, though, is do you fully trust California's leaders right now with some of the track records in place on some of these programs that have resulted in waste or fraud? I mean, do you fully trust them to be able to carry out what you're asking them to do in this ballot initiative?
So, I trust that the way that we've written the initiative is going to ensure that the legislature and those that are making decisions around funding are going to move funding towards the programs that have been cut. That's exactly what the money has to be used for. And so we will ensure that happens.
Venture cap.
Yeah, I don't trust that. But it's interesting that you're essentially saying, yeah, the money will be used to fund Medi-Cal, which is available to illegal immigrants. That's what this whole thing is about. It seems to be that they lost federal funding because California is a sanctuary state that provides free healthcare for illegal immigrants. And that's a huge drain on California's budget. So they're scrambling and trying to figure out how they can get that money back. Oh, I know. We'll do a billionaire's tax on all of their assets. Like the way these taxes work is they basically lump all of your net worth together, which is money that's tied up in businesses. Like Elon can't just go and liquidate all of his net worth if he wanted to, sell SpaceX, sell Tesla, sell Twitter, and then he has all this money. And but that's what they're taxing. They're taxing his net worth, and part of his net worth is the companies that he owns or owns partially. That's where they think that the healthcare funding should come from. So pretty interesting if you ask me. All right, I'm trying to get through this California stuff quickly because I have a lot of other stuff that I want to cover. So this is funny. You guys remember the real IDs? You guys know I don't have a real ID. I refuse to get one. I won't get into why, but many of you guys already know why I refuse to get one. But apparently there was a bit of a little glitchy poo over at the DMV, and I guess more than 300,000 IDs need to be remade. Like they're not going to work here. So this is from the Western Journal. Liberal leadership, California DMV software problems botched more than 300,000 IDs. California's Department of Motor Vehicles revealed that about 325,000 people will be required to obtain a new Real ID driver's license due to a software issue dating back more than 20 years. The Real ID, a federally accepted driver's license, was officially implemented nationwide on May 25th after Congress passed the Real ID Act in 2005, with travelers now required to show their Real ID or passport when flying. That's not true. That's not true. You still don't have to. That's not true. They tried to scare everybody and say that you would be required to, but no, you don't. In order to fly, you can still just do the regular ID. They're probably going to bring you aside and aggressively backhand your penis before they let you go through, but you still just need your Real ID or your regular California ID. The DMV released a statement Wednesday saying that an estimated 325,000 people will receive notices instructing them to correct their licenses. We proactively reviewed our records, identified a legacy system issue from 2006, and are notifying impacted customers with clear guidance on how to maintain a valid California-issued credential. California DMV Director Steve Gordon said for nearly 99% Real ID holders, no action is required. But all right, so major glitch causing major problems. I'm not even going to have time to talk about the 911 system that California tried to implement. California spent billions of dollars, I can't remember the exact figure, on a new 911 system that they never even launched because it didn't work. It was all buggy and they never even launched it. So it was just all that money went down the drain. I didn't even have time to bring up all the stats on that, but it's quite interesting. So this is from JJ Smith. If you guys have been paying attention when you go to the grocery store, you'll notice that you can't get plastic bags anymore. You can't even pay for them anymore. And remember the original bag fee when California originally started charging you 10 cents or whatever it was, 25 cents in Santa Cruz County to get a grocery bag. You gotta, if you want to use reuse or single-use plastic bags, it's going to cost you 25 cents. And it was originally to reduce plastic. Well, now they're not even available. You can't get plastic bags anymore at the grocery store, but you still got to pay for paper bags. So like, what do you like and it was that original bill, the charging people for the bags and then where that money was supposed to go. They were two separate bills. So the first bill passed that was to charge people 10 cents per bag. And then the other bill was supposed to have that money go towards environmental causes. That bill didn't pass. So they don't even work in the way that the two bills together, they should have been combined into one bill. But the way it was supposed to work was they were supposed to make money off of the plastic bags, and that money was supposed to go towards environmental causes. But that part of the bill didn't pass. So now the grocery stores just keep the money. So California just mandates that grocery stores charge you for these grocery bags. So this is like one of my giant pet peeves. It pisses me off every time I go grocery shopping. Just keep the other bags in your trunk. No, I don't want to. And plus, I'll forget them. They'll get all nasty in my trunk. They get all dried out during the summer, and then the bottoms fall out of them. Screw you. No, I should be able to eat. And it was, remember how you used to get the single-use thin plastic bags and you'd line your trash can with them? So they weren't really single-use. You'd have a drawer full of them at your house. Everybody did the same thing. Your little trash can liners. That's what they were used for. Well, those disappeared. So then they started charging you for plastic bags that were super thick. And those were supposed to be reusable, but everybody uses them in the same way, except they don't work well in a trash can now because they're so thick. They get all bunched up and weird when you put them in there. So it's just annoying. Yeah. So, all right. The whole reason I mentioned this is because those thin single-use plastic bags that we all knew and loved before 2000, I don't know, what was it? 2010, 2008, something around there when they got rid of them and started charging people for bags. Well, you can still get those plastic bags and you can still get them provided by the state of California. The only thing is you have to be going to one of these ice cream trucks for crackheads where they hand out fentanyl needles and crack pipes to people. They will give you a single-use plastic bag as long as you're getting a crack pipe. That's right, folks. You can still get the single-use plastic bags in California. There's a loophole. You just got to get a crack pipe with it. So there's your way around it. So here's this video from JJ Smith. See it? They're the good ones too, the thin ones that you can put in your trash cans. But it comes with a crack pipe or a fentanyl needle, maybe foil, maybe a Bunsen burner.
Youngster, what did he just give you?
A bubble on a straight shooter.
Can I see it?
So boom, you guys see that? Straight crack pipe, boom. See that? That's like a lot of people don't even, and also single-use plastic bag. You see it? Single-use plastic bag, crack pipe. It's all you need. You want to get a single-use plastic bag, just got to get a crack pipe with it. But like a lot of people still aren't even aware this is happening in California, and it's been happening for 7-8 years now. There's these non-governmental organizations that drive around the streets of San Francisco and pull up and set up a table, and they put on gloves, and they have a bunch of it's like a charcuterie board for crackheads. They have the little rubber things to tie off your arm with. They have foil. They have cookers. Those are like the little Bunsen burners. They hand out everything you need to shoot up or smoke drugs on the streets of San Francisco. They give you everything that you need. And for the longest time, at least before Mayor Lori got into office, the drug dealers would operate with impunity. And as famously Chesapeake said, that they just have to let them. They just have to let them, because the Honduran drug cartels will go after their families if they don't. So yeah, that's happening. I promise you it's happening. They're also handing out beers. If you guys didn't know that, they have a whole program for alcoholics where you can go get a beer, like one every, I think it's like every 2 or 3 hours you're allowed. And they'll give you a beer, glass of wine. No joke. No joke. There's facilities that, homeless people can go to. They got an alcohol problem. They'll go there and get a beer. This is not a joke. Fact check me. Look into it. But crack pipe right there. You see it on screen. Now, how old is he?
Let me ask you a question. How old are you?
17.
17. He's a minor. He's a minor, folks. Like, I remember when I was a kid and you wanted to go to the head shop, the smoke shops where they sell like cool blacklight posters and they smell like incense. They smell like Nag Champa. You go there, you get your Metallica t-shirt, you get your Guns N' Roses patches that you could put on your arms. I guess it was more like back then. It was probably like I don't know, probably more like a Led Zeppelin or a Pink Floyd one. They had posters, they had shirts, and they also sold bongs, but you had to call them water pipes back then. You weren't allowed to call them bongs, but you had to be 18 to buy them. No, that was for pot. That was for smoking pot. They say it was for tobacco. That's why you had to call it a water pipe. But then you had to be 18. Now on the streets of San Francisco, you don't even need to pay for stuff. They are actual crack pipes. They'll call them crack pipes. And you don't even need to be 18. They'll just give them to you. They don't ask for ID. Yeah. This is the state we live in. This is California. It's incredible. It's maddening to me.
17?
Yeah.
He didn't ask you your age?
No. Yeah, that's my age.
But he was asking you something about me. I seen that.
Yeah.
What was it?
He asked me, was I with you? Did I work for you? Or what question you had asked me?
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
God bless.
All right.
Sorry, Gemini. There wasn't a ton of audio with that one. I'll make the next video full screen. Yeah, I know. I don't need to have my big narcissistic face in the screen all the time. Okay, so yeah, it's mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And then notice the cop car right there. They do it right in front of the cops. Like, this is not. It's no secret. So this kid is getting a crack pipe. I mean, if the cops wanted to, it's like, let's follow this kid. He's clearly going to have like some crack on him, or he's going to go, smoke the crack somewhere. If we scope it out and we go and we watch him smoke crack right there, maybe we can arrest him and then figure out where he got it from. You remember how they used to go after dealers? That's what they would do. They would go after the people that are actually buying the stuff, and then they wouldn't prosecute them if they gave up and rolled over on their dealer. Man, no, the cops just let them walk away. And then they're going to go smoke crack on the sidewalk. It's insane. It's freaking insane. I can't wrap my freaking brain around it. Okay, let's keep going. Wally World, you didn't get a real ID? Yeah. Did they actually ask you for your passport? I haven't even flown since they started implementing this policy. Actually, yes, I did. And they didn't even ask me for a passport. I didn't need to use it. Do they still have plastic bags for fruits and veggies? Yes, you could still and everything that you buy comes in plastic bags too. Like, everything you buy comes in plastic. It's just so stupid. The whole thing is just ridiculous. And on top of that, it just became, I don't know when it goes into effect, it might have already, but tortillas manufactured in California, they all have to have a certain amount of folic acid in them now. And their reasoning behind that, the reason why the state decided they needed to make a law requiring tortilla manufacturers to put folic acid in their food, it sounds insane to me, is they're saying that it has to do with birth defects. It has to do with birth defects in the Latino community. So we're requiring that they put folic acid in their food. And then you'll hear like a bunch of libtards arguing. It's like, well, folic acid helps with this and that. And it's like, I don't need the state to mandate it. Take folic acid freaking supplements then. Like, what is going on? Like, why? So yeah, I made a joke that I'm going to start smuggling folic acid free tortillas into California. All right, let's keep going here. This just happened out in LA, and I will go smaller screen with this one because this is kind of crazy. So dude in a U-Haul truck. So they got these. So they have. There's been so many different flags. It's like they switched from the Palestinian flags now to the Iranian flags. And they just appear out of nowhere. All of a sudden, hundreds of people have these brand new Iran flags. Like, where the fuck do you even buy an Iran flag? Like, oh, let's go on Amazon and want myself an Iranian flag. Well, like, I mean, shit. I'm pretty sure you'd be put on an FBI watch list if you ordered an Iranian flag, but that's not the point here. It's funny how hundreds of these Iranian flags just show up, all organized, brand new. Half the population is MTHR gene and are allergic to folic acid. It's a depopulation sick care agenda. Oh, well, that's good. Yeah, paid protesters. I did a whole interview. They have this organization called Crowds on Demand, and I discovered that website, and I went to it and I started reading off of their website. This is when the Columbia University stuff was going on, and I posted a clip from that episode where I was just reading off of Crowds on Demand's website, just reading directly from their website. And the point of the video is just to say, like, everything you're seeing on the Columbia University campus right now is provided by this company, Crowds on Demand. And that clip went like super viral. And the CEO, who's a super nice guy, his name's Adam Swart, very nice guy, trail runner. He hit me up and he was like, I demand an apology. I want to come on your show and talk about how, like, we had nothing to do with that. That wasn't us at the Columbia protest. And I was like, I'm not apologizing, but I also never claimed it was you. I was just saying that all these things that you're seeing on the Columbia University campuses, the picket signs, the flags, like the tents, remember the tents, all the tents were the same. It's weird, and you seem to offer these services on your website. And then I ended up doing a whole interview with Adam Swart. You guys can find it, Crowds on Demand. It's episode from a few months ago, maybe a year ago. And Adam ended up being a super cool guy, but that's not the only organization that does it. I think George Soros Tides Foundation does similar shit. There's what was it? Newt Gingrich was it Newt Gingrich? No, I'm sorry. Rush Limbaugh. I always get him and Newt Gingrich mixed up. Rush Limbaugh used to call it Rent-A-Riot. He'd call them Rent-A-Riots. And yeah, there's plenty of different organizations that'll do it. But anyway, this just happened in LA. They got the Iran protests going on right now. And I don't know what they're protesting. Like, we haven't tried to do, like, you'd think they'd be protesting over the Venezuela shit, because we did sort of kidnap their leader, but that's not what they're protesting. They're protesting Iran. I don't know what their demands are, because, like, we haven't touched them since last time we bombed their nuclear facilities. But anyway, this U-Haul truck tried to drive through the protest, and it didn't work out well. Why do women always scream like that? Why? It doesn't matter what's happening. Anytime some sort of remotely violent thing starts happening, women just start, wow! Wow! Like, why do you do that? It's not helping anything. It's the most frustrating thing. It's just ear piercing. It only hurts people that are actually trying to help the situation. Just stop it. Stop. Why is that your natural instinct? All right, so there's that one. And then here's another view. This is from Gunther Engelman. Here's another view of it. I don't think there's audio on this clip. So apparently they stopped the truck. There was enough people in front of it. And I mean, like, what's a driver supposed to do if they come around a corner, all of a sudden their vehicle gets surrounded, people start banging on the window, breaking the window? Like, what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and let a crazy mobs. So they're all punching the guy in the back of the head. Are you just supposed to let the mob drag you out of the truck? And look at all these Iranian flags, just all of them brand new. Like, where'd you guys get the Iranian flags? It's just incredible. So, all right, there's that one, and then here's another angle of that exact same clip right here. That guy don't give a shit. He took somebody's flag and he started fighting back. They broke the windshield. This is a U-Haul. He's clearly renting it. Like, why are you guys smashing up the U-Haul? What did the U-Haul do? Didn't do nothing. It's just... All right. So that's just some of the stuff that's going on in California. Okay. I got through that in like the exact amount of time that I hoped to. And I was hoping not to take a full hour on all the different California stuff. So yeah, that's basically what's going on in California right now. There's a million other things going on in California that I should be talking about, but there's also Scarlett. Stop that. She is not being very ladylike down there. Yeah, I just there's an endless amount of shenanigans going on in California that I could be talking about, but there's too many other things going on in the world, and a lot of it seems like a psyop, for lack of a better term. It's not necessarily a psyop, but like everything seems to be propaganda. And when I say propaganda, I don't mean it's false information being put out necessarily. That a lot of propaganda is mostly true, with maybe a little bit of disinformation mixed in there. But it's meant to achieve some sort of objective. It's meant to steer hearts and minds. It's meant to sway public opinion in a certain direction. And it seems like everything that happens, whether it's something that happens organically or maybe wasn't so organic, it's all, they'll take something that happens organically, for example, and they will pounce on it and then try to spin it and make you look at it through a certain lens. And I personally feel like the Somalian daycare thing was done in that way. I'm not saying the Somalian daycare stuff was false. It actually looks like there's a huge amount of fraud in the Somalia daycare thing. That's not my point. My point is, so this is coming from the right, and it's meant to outrage the right, which it should. You should be outraged about that much fraud. But there's so much other fraud, like the military-industrial complex, for example. That's stuff that we can never look into. That is a giant black hole that we will never see where that money goes. Do you really think that guys from Lockheed Martin and Boeing and Northrop Grumman, they're not misusing any of these funds that we don't have any oversight over? Anytime you have any sort of programs that don't have any oversight or very little oversight, you're going to get bad actors that are going to be misusing those funds and pocketing a bunch off the top. Well, the Somalian daycare thing that was exposed, though it looks to be completely legit. I mean, the story is legit. It's an illegitimate thing that's going on, but like a bunch of fake daycares with no kids and shit like that. The thing that was the video that Nick, what's his name? Let me see, I got it here. Nick Shirley. The thing that Nick Shirley put out, it got like, let me see how many views it got. It got, I mean, it was an absurd amount. Where are we here? I seem to have lost it. It got something like 250 million views on this video, and it was reposted by, you know, a lot of the same people that I've grown to mistrust, the people that are I'm not trying to make any association with this, but the super pro-Israel crowd, like all of them were reposting this stuff. And if you guys are familiar with Clint Russell at Liberty Lockdown, become kind of a buddy of mine. It's not like we've hung out or anything, but we chat back and forth, and he's been on the show a few times. Apparently he was approached by somebody. He'd already reposted the video and put his 2 cents in, but he got approached by someone to offer him money to repost that story. So why were they trying to artificially repost that story? So my tinfoil brain immediately gets moving, and I'm thinking, like, are we going to invade Somalia? Like, are they trying to, like, what? Why? Like, I don't know the reason why, but the point is, it seemed like propaganda. Though it was true information, it's meant to steer public opinion in a certain way and provoke outrage, provoke dissent, or not dissent. Get people arguing with each other. Just the whole like Cloward Piven strategy type shit. Like, why was it so artificially boosted? Is my question, I guess. 42 million views. Thank you, Gemini. No, it was more than that. No, I have it here somewhere. It was more than that. Let me see. Where is it? I have it somewhere. Now I gotta find it, Gemini. I have so many things pulled up here that I want to talk about. Geez, where the hell did I put it? No. Yeah, Gemini, go to the original video, because yeah, where the frick did I put it? Oh, there it is. So the original video, 139.8 million views. That's on X. So I don't know if it was on another platform, because it was fraud, happened a long time ago. We are just now being declassed. What do you mean by that, Gemini? Wally World, I've known of Nick Shirley for a couple of years and actually met him. He does good work, but that video went crazy viral. Yeah, he's in Greenland now. You guys see what he's doing over in Greenland? He just interviewed some guys in Greenland talking about how they want Trump to buy it. And like that too, like that seems a little weird to me too. Like it's I even have a conspiracy theory that, Dan Bongino was one of the most outspoken people against the deep state prior to Trump getting elected. And I mean, after January 6th happened, he was part of Parler. Do you guys remember Parler? It was like a different option for people that got kicked off of Twitter, basically. There was like Parler, Getter. This is before Trump created Truth Social. But Parler was basically kicked off of the Apple Store. And Dan Bongino was like an investor in Parler. But he was very outspoken about the Epstein files and like all the deep state stuff. And then he gets put in as deputy director of the FBI, and he completely flips on stuff. And then he resigns and comes back out, and now he's just saying the exact opposite of the shit that he used to say. So my conspiracy theory is that he's still working for the FBI. He's still working now. The deep state turned him, essentially. I don't know. It's weird. The Dan Bongino situation is weird. But yeah, this Nick Shirley video, I'm looking at his page right now. The original one's got 139.8 million views. It's got 680,000 likes, 152,000 bookmarks, 45,000 comments. Like, thing went absolutely bananas. All right, let's keep going here. So, all right, I want to play this quick video from I don't even know what podcast this was. I watched the whole episode though, and it was pretty good. I don't know who this guy is. This is Chase Hughes. He's a former military behavioral expert. And like all the stuff I just mentioned, just keep that in mind when you watch this video, because if you follow Q, then you understand declass, which we are now in. I do not. The Q shit, I am not into the Q shit. I think the Q shit is a fucking Fed psyop, personally. Like, and I know the Q people get pretty mad when I say that, but no, I am not trusting the plan. I don't think there is a plan. I think it's all a giant freaking Fed slop psyop, personally. But I mean, you're welcome to disagree with me, but prove me wrong. I hope I am wrong. I hope there is some plan to arrest all of the deep state people, but it's like the same people that were in charge arresting grandmas for simply being in the Capitol on January 6th. Those same people are in the FBI, the J6 pipe bomber shit. Oh, like the Blaze comes out with a article saying that they used forensic analytics to look at the gait of how somebody walked, and then they determined that it was this Capitol police officer lady, and then she was like, nope, here's a video of me playing with my puppies, so that debunks the story. The Blaze is forced to retract that story, and then the FBI comes out and we're like, we got him guys. It's this autistic kid that likes to wear Crocs, and he's into My Little Pony, and he started buying pipe bomb making materials before the election even happened. So he was clairvoyant in some way. This autistic kid that liked to wear Crocs and play with My Little Ponies. He was buying bomb making materials, 90% of which every dude has in his garage or shed. Like, so no, I'm not buying any of the J6 shit either. I know I saw, so Gemini, Trump and military have been making comms daily from Q posts. I don't think it's comms. I think they're like, I think it's a psyop. The Q shit is hysterical to me. Let's watch this video. I don't know if I'm going to change your mind on this, Gemini, but like, I'm not buying it. I hope you're right though. Like, I hope I'm wrong, and I hope there is some big giant plan, and it really is a trust the plan type situation. But I'm not buying it. So watch this video. Keep what I'm saying in mind, and let me know what you think.
How do you know if you're in the middle of a psychological operation?
I would just assume 24/7 that we are. But let's go into the details. But
what are the signs that something is a psychological operation specifically?
So narrative sticking points. So matching narrative is number one. And matching narrative means that I'm hearing pretty much the same messaging from media outlets, celebrity influencers, which is number two, and authority. So people that are in a position of social authority, not like cops and lawyers, and judges, but people in social authority, like pop singers. And I won't say any names. Pop singers, the most popular pop singers, all saying the same shit on social media. That should terrify you to the deepest part of your core, that none of this is real, or none of this is what it seems like. And those are the first two. Number three is if you're seeing people silenced or ostracized for disagreeing with an idea. We saw this during the pandemic.
Seeing that a lot with Candace Owens right now, whether you agree with her or not.
Like crazy. There were Harvard-educated medical doctors that were kicked off of social media, which is our greatest fear of human beings.
Like Dr. Mary Talley Bowden, who's become a friend of mine, trained at Stanford Medicine. She's been on my show. Same thing. People were completely ostracized.
Is being ostracized socially. It's greater than death. This is why public speaking is rated higher by almost everybody than death. And it's not public speaking that we're afraid of. It's being out there and having a big idea and then getting rejected by a large crowd. That's what terrifies human beings. And you can leverage the shit out of that, especially when you can manufacture an artificial tribe on social media. So Harvard-educated doctors that disagreed with this mainstream narrative were getting banned. And the dude, I can't remember his name. I wish I could. But the dude who invented mRNA vaccines,
Robert Malone, so they just showed,
was on there and went against the narrative and got ostracized. The dude who invented this kind of vaccine, it's unbelievable. So like, and that step three, just remember in your mind that if an idea requires suppression to exist, it's a horrible idea, and it's most likely a psyop. Good ideas don't need to suppress other people. Good ideas travel on their own. Good ideas spread on their own. It doesn't need suppression by itself. So those three are some of the big ones. And
you're seeing a lot of this on the right right now. You're seeing it a lot more on the left, primarily from the left, before Trump got into office during the Biden years. All about the vaccine stuff primarily. But now you're seeing it a lot on the right. Like if you disagree with what we just did in Venezuela, if you don't want us to bomb Iran's nuclear facilities, if you don't think it's a good thing what Israel is doing in Gaza right now, all of those things, it seems that you are attacked by massive amounts of people that seems to be artificial in order to ostracize you and silence you and get you to self-censor and not talk about those things. That seems to be happening a lot. Matty Bracco, nice to see you, man. Hey, if you guys are watching over on X, it'd be a huge favor to me if you went and subscribed on YouTube. I'm trying to actually build up my YouTube channel. It'd be nice because I'm not even close to being monetized on YouTube. So this is all for free. So if you guys want to support the show, go over and subscribe on YouTube. It would be a huge help. All right, let's keep going here. But actually, no, Gemini, you said something I want to respond to. So you said you've been following for 7 years and you know it to be true. I have to push back on that. Like, you've heard of simulation theory? Everybody's heard of simulation theory, right? That we all live in a simulation. Nothing we really see is real, like the Matrix, when everybody is in those pods and they're basically using our body heat for energy, and everything we saw was just a figment of our imagination. It was all the Matrix. We can't even prove that we don't live in a simulation. So if you subscribe to the idea that simulation theory could possibly be true, there's like a slight chance that it could be true, then we really know nothing. We know nothing for sure. Everything is just our best intuition. So, I mean, once you buy into something so deeply and lockstep and you make it like part of your reality, if something comes out that disproves that idea, it's reality shattering to you, and you can't believe, even if it's irrefutable, that idea has been disproven with irrefutable facts. You can't believe it because it's like reality shattering, and it'll break your psyche. So that's why I'm not just completely bought in to any particular single truth. I can't do it. I can't allow myself to do it. But it's also a downside of mine, because that's why I have such a problem with religion. So I have such a problem with Christianity. I want to be Christian. I'm like Fox Mulder when it comes to Christianity. I want to believe, but there's something in my mind that won't allow me to fully buy in. And it's partially because of that. It's totally all good if you don't know how Q works. That's okay. All right. Okay. Fair enough. All right. Let's keep going here. So this is let's see. Q post reposted by Trump, Vance, military, departments of labor, Dan Scavino in the White House, Cash and more. Yeah, I don't trust any of those people. Like, I don't trust Cash Patel. I don't JD Vance. I'm hugely skeptical of JD Vance with his ties to Peter Thiel and Palantir and all that shit. Like, I don't trust Vance at all. Like, Q seems like it was created from the deep state, and like, I don't trust it. I've seen too many facts to prove it to be true over and over again. I feel aligned. You know what? Like, I'm willing to entertain the idea, but I am not buying it. It smells like a psyop to me. It's like, you're like guitar players. I know, Danger, you'll get what I'm saying here. Like guitar players that you've been listening to for a really long time. Carlos Santana is a perfect example of that. If all of a sudden a Carlos Santana song comes on, within like 5 notes of him playing the guitar, even if it's a song you haven't heard before, you're like, oh, that's Carlos. Jerry Garcia is very similar in that regard. You can just, I think that's Jerry Garcia. Bob Weir just passed away, so that's sad. It's sad that just happened. No more Dead and Company shows, but that's what the Q stuff seems like to me. That's what this Nick Shirley stuff seems like to me. That's what this Venezuela stuff seems like to me. This next thing that I'm going to talk about here, it smells like a psyop. It sounds like a psyop, or some type of propaganda to get people to look at things in a certain kind of way. I don't know exactly what the objective is, but it just sounds off. There's something off about it. So here's this next thing. This is so This is from the Skiff, at the Skiff on X over here. So he says, former Nicolas Maduro security guard delivers a firsthand account of the advanced technology used in the U.S. raids in Venezuela. State-of-the-art drones, massive firepower, but direct energy weapons were most terrifying. So let's watch this. Let's watch this video, and then I've got another thing that went mega viral from Mike Netter that I'm going to go to next here.
A security guard that was protecting Maduro has spoken, and you got to hear what he said. It's in Spanish, but I'll translate. Also, Trump announced that, the cartels, they're going after him in Mexico. The whole vibe of Latin America has changed because of what happened in Venezuela. And
that's what I feel that this form of propaganda is designed to do. Is it's not for Americans, this propaganda. It's for Latin America. It's to get them to think twice before they mess with the American military at all. They might as well give up ahead of time. Something along those lines. That's what this seems to be designed to do.
Now that we're getting firsthand accounts from people that were there, the soldier says they didn't hear him coming. He says the Americans had technology superior to anything they've ever seen. Everything that they were using for radar, for anything, was completely taken offline. They had drones, and the drones were taking out bases and taking out things faster. They didn't have no technology. They've never had to fight against drones. He also talks about that there was only 8 helicopters. There was only 20 men that were sent in, and those 20 men killed hundreds of their men, and none of those soldiers were injured. He talks about it felt like they were firing 300 rounds a minute. Nothing they've ever seen, nothing that they can compete with. And then he also talks to the fact that the Americans had some kind of sonic shock boom that was sent out, and everybody immediately started bleeding profusely out of their nose. They couldn't even gather themselves because whatever was sent at them made them fall to their knees and vomit blood out of their mouth and out of their noses. They were incapacitated immediately. He says he never wants to go through that again. Doesn't want to have to fight with the Americans again. He's sending warnings to everybody out there that you think you can fight the Americans. You don't even know what their weaponry is like and what they're capable of. 20 men took out hundreds, and that's starting to spread all through Latin America. And now they're not saying, if you want me, come and get me anymore. They're like, oh shit. Especially after Trump says, hey, Mexico, you're on the list too.
All right. So it just seems too over the top to me. So we'll keep going. But and I'm not saying, like, look, it was Delta Force. Those guys are absolutely badass. I'm not even saying that like the Havana syndrome weapons, that those don't exist. I'm not saying that either. I'm not even saying that this was necessarily all false or it wasn't completely true what he just said. I don't think they took out hundreds. Whether they used those types of weapons or not, I don't necessarily know if I believe that that's true. Like, why would that even be necessary? Delta Force is badass enough on their own. But all right, so this I made one like tiny comment and it created a shitstorm. So let's go over to Mike Netter here. I'm gonna go back full screen so you guys can see my narcissistic face, because you're not gonna need to read along with me. Yeah, the frequency weapons. Yeah, and I'm not saying those don't exist, but I don't see why it would have been necessary to use them. Okay, so this is from Mike Netter here. This video it's not even a video. It's just it's a transcript of that interview this guy was just talking about. And I saw the actual video. It's this guy like laying in a hospital bed talking about it. And this is like a transcript of that interview. So Mike Netter says, this account is from a Venezuelan security guard loyal to Nicolas Maduro, is absolutely chilling. And it explains a lot about why the tone across Latin America suddenly changed. Security guard. On the day of the operation, we didn't hear anything coming. We were on the ground, but suddenly all our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, a lot of drones, flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. Interviewer. So what happened next? How was the main attack? Security guard. After the drones appeared, some helicopters arrived, but there were very few. I think barely 8 helicopters. From those helicopters, soldiers came down, but a very small number, maybe 20 men. But those men were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we'd ever fought against before. Interviewer. And then the battle began? Question mark. Security guard. Yes, but this was a massacre. We were hundreds, but they had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed. It seemed like each soldier was firing 300 rounds per minute. We couldn't do anything. Interviewer. And your own weapons, didn't they help? Security guard. No help at all, because it was just the weapons. It wasn't just the weapons. At one point, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from our nose. Some were vomiting blood. We fell to the ground, unable to move. Interviewer. And your comrades, did they manage to resist? Security guard. No, not at all. Those 20 men, without a single casualty, killed hundreds of us. We had no way to compete with their technology, with their weapons. I swear, I've never seen anything like it. We couldn't even stand up after that sonic weapon or whatever it was. Interviewer. So what do you think the rest of the region should think? So do you think the rest of the region should think twice before confronting the Americans? Security guard. Without a doubt. I'm sending a warning to everyone who thinks they can fight with the United States. They have no idea what they're capable of. After what I saw, I never want to be on the other side of that again. They're not to be messed with. Interviewer. And now that Trump has said Mexico is on the list, do you think the situation will change in Latin America? Security guard. Definitely. Everyone is already talking about this. No one wants to go through what we went through. Now everyone thinks twice. What happened is going to change a lot of things, not just in Venezuela, but all throughout the region. So my comment, and that got 28 million views. So I just commented, and this ended up being the top comment. So Mike Netter's, he's usually doing California reporting. He's usually reporting on California stuff. I love Mike Netter. He does great work. He does these long, like articles. He writes like long articles. He's really good. I love him. So I said to him, love your work, but this reeks of government propaganda. And I misspelled reeks. Do we have badass soldiers and crazy tech? Yes, but who talks like this? That's all I said. That's all I said. And this got 1.4 million views. This comment, it got 1,200 comments, 1,200 replies to my comment, 20,000 likes, 225 bookmarks. And again, all I said is love your work, but this reeks of government propaganda. Do we have badass soldiers and crazy tech? Yes, but who talks like this? And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that his story is necessarily false. It seems exaggerated, but it's the whole tone of the story. Latin America, all you guys in Latin America, you better watch out for the US troops. Like this propaganda was designed to scare the cartels or something like that. That's what I'm getting from all of this. That's all I'm saying. I'm not even necessarily saying that it's false. But I'm not necessarily saying it's true either. We know the Delta Force guys were outnumbered and they took out a lot of guys, and they got, like, the operation was pretty darn impressive. Like, I don't support what we did. I don't think we should have went in there and took them out. Granted, it didn't end up being a regime change, not yet, at least. Like, the Maduro regime is still in place. It's still a socialist or communist dictatorship that's now more likely to cooperate with America. Seemingly, Trump threatened, what's her name, his vice president lady, and at first she was talking tough, but now she walked that back a little bit, and now she sounds like she's going to cooperate with America. And like, Trump isn't. What's great, you almost have to respect that Trump isn't even like sugarcoating this like other presidents would have in the past, that this is about the freedom of Venezuelans. He's not even saying that. He's not even sugarcoating this. He's just like, nope, we want their oil. We want their oil. And I don't even think it's necessarily just about the oil. I mean, our dollar, the petrodollar, our dollar is propped up by oil, and our deficit is like, we're getting to the point where our entire GDP will just be used to pay down the interest on the deficit that we're running. And our dollar is just propped up by oil, and our dollar looks like, I mean, like you're seeing what's happening with silver right now. Our dollar looks like it's about to fail at any moment. So I think this is more about propping up the petrodollar than it is about just the oil, just taking their oil. It's Venezuela was supplying like 80% of the oil that was purchased from Venezuela was purchased from China. and China, part of the BRICS nations, the petrodollar forces other countries, if they're going to buy oil, they have to use the US dollar to buy that oil. Well, China, what is it? China, Russia, Brazil, India, and what's the S country? I can't remember the other country. Are all they're going to purchase oil in their own currency. I think right now they're using the yuan, but they're trying to create like a gold-backed currency for purchasing oil. Taking that off the table, that's a huge amount of not just oil to take off the table, but it's a huge amount of power for the petrodollar to be like reattained. Does that make sense? I'm probably not explaining this well, but I think you get what I'm saying. Gemini, Trump is a boss. You're not gonna like me. Danger in the chat here. He's one of my closest friends. Him and I disagree on Trump a lot too. I voted for Trump, but I am like a lot of the people. So I'm a libertarian. I'm not. So don't judge me. Yeah, bricks. But I'm not like I won't even get into libertarian stuff right now. But I'm not a Republican. I'm not hardcore MAGA. I voted for Trump, and a lot of the people that are, similar minded like me, like I'm in the same camp of like the Dave Smiths, the Clint Russells, the Tom Woods, the Scott Horton, all those guys. That's like the camp that I'm in. And none of us that voted for Trump were like, I can't wait till Trump gets into office so he can overthrow the government of Venezuela. Like that was not on my mind. I can't wait till Trump gets into office so we can purchase Greenland. That was not part of my mind. That was not part of the reason why I voted for Trump. So yeah, I'm not thrilled about the whole thing. It hasn't turned into a massive forever war, boots on the ground in Venezuela. Sorry guys. Sorry, had to sneeze. Couldn't pause in time. Couldn't mute in time, I should say. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, it seems very weird. And the reason this Mike Netter thing, and I'm not saying Mike Netter is putting out propaganda. I mean, he just saw a story and he wrote about it and he put it out. That's just what we do. But what happened with it was very similar to like what happened with the Nick Shirley story. It started getting boosted by all of these, like I call them the usual suspects. So first we've got Dan Bongino, must read about why it's a really bad idea to fuck with the world's most powerful military. So Dan Bongino reposts it and says that. Then you've got Carolyn Levitt, who she's like one of the press secretaries. She's the assistant to the press secretary. She reposted it and says, stop what you're doing and read this. And I said, stop what you're doing and read this Fed slop war propaganda. So that's what I said to it. And then Tim Pool reposts it and says, holy shit, this is insane. Apparently it's not a guard, but a collectivo. So I don't know. Like Tim Pool, I'm not a fan of Tim Pool anymore. I used to watch his show religiously. I mean, it like helped me get through the whole lockdowns period, even though he was very wishy-washy on the vaccine. But yeah, I haven't been a fan of Tim Pool lately. Ever since Harrison Smith went on Tim Pool's show and he was a complete dick to him, I was not a huge fan of him after that. All right, we'll keep going. A lot of shit that you guys probably disagree with me on, but let's see. What's stirring the pot, Gemini? Do you see the Venezuela celebrating? I saw a bunch of fake videos being shared of Venezuela celebrating, like they're in like the ones in Florida that was after a soccer game. And there's a lot of Venezuelans that are protesting against what just happened. So it like, yeah, tons of those videos that got shared weren't from Venezuela and they got community noted to hell, but they still left them up, ironically. So it's very strange. So I'm anti-war and I'm not about regime changes. Like that's not what I voted for. I want the regime that I want to see changed is the people behind the scenes that are really running the government, not the elected officials, the CIA, the Mossad, the FBI, all the people that are controlling everything behind the snes. Like those are the people that I want to see arrested. Like we haven't seen. I want to know more about the Thomas Crooks shit. I want to know. I want there to be arrests with everybody who's associated with Epstein. We're not seeing any of that. In fact, we're seeing the exact opposite. We're seeing a cover up. it doesn't seem like they're going after the people. Not doesn't seem, they're not going after it seems to me like all of like the deep state was originally against Trump, right? Because Trump was the one that was like in 2016, how he was talking about, I mean, he spoke out against Adelson, Miriam Adelson's husband. What's his other name? Talked about how he's going to be able to control little Marco Rubio. And now the Adelsons are the number one people funding him. It seems that they got to Trump, if you ask me. That's what it seems like. Trump isn't. Now all the people like the Lindsey Grahams of the world, the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros, the people that were never Trumpers are all backing Trump because they're doing the very things that Trump was speaking out against before. The regime changes, the forever wars. I'm not saying he started a forever war, but it seems like we're going in that direction with Iran. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too confident that there's some greater plan at all. I'm not too confident in that at all. So we'll keep going. So, all right. Yeah, let's keep going here. I got some other stuff that I want to get into. So this is okay. All right. So, okay. This is probably going to be the last topic I have time to cover. I'm not even going to be able to get into the Iran stuff. I usually say maybe I'll try to do a show during the week to try and cover this stuff, but I haven't been getting home till like 7 o'clock recently. December was insane for work for me, and it's very hard to do a live stream. Like I said, I've been extremely black-pilled. So this is the indictment of the J6 pipe bomber, the alleged J6 pipe bomber. So this is from Joe Hanneman. He says DOJ obtains federal grand jury indictment of pipe bomb suspect Brian Cole Jr. with the same charges that were in the criminal complaint in December. So let's go over to this clip from Dan Bongino. So let's see what he has to say about the alleged J6 pipe bomber.
You know, I don't know if you remember this. This is before you became the deputy FBI director. You put a post on X right after this happened, and you said there's a massive cover-up because the person that planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it is because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or an inside job. You said that, you know, long before you were even thought of as deputy FBI director.
Yeah, that's why I said to you, this investigation's just begun. We are pretty comfortable. We have our guy.
Okay. So Sean Hannity says, hey, before you were saying this is an inside job, and now Dan Bongino saying, yeah, the investigation's ongoing, but we're pretty sure we got our guy. The guy that likes to wear Crocs, who's autistic, and he's into My Little Ponies. That's our guy, not the Capitol Police officer that the Blaze put out a report saying that they think that's who did it, planted the pipe bombs on January 6th.
I think as again, legal process starts to surface and information, facts start to come out. The public's going to be very comfortable with the investigation that was conducted under Director Patel and his leadership. He's been great on this. But I don't want to, listen, I was paid in the past, Sean, for my opinions. That's clear. And one day I'll be back in that space. But that's not what I'm paid for now. I'm paid to be your deputy director. And we base investigations on facts. And, it was interesting. I was looking out in the crowd today at the presser, and I saw a couple of media figures who you and I both know who promoted the other scandal, the collusion hoax. And I thought to myself, the difference between us and them is, we evolve. As information and new inputs come out, we can produce different outputs because that's what we believe in. We believe in facts and investigations guided by facts. There were people out there in that crowd, I'm sure still believe in this collusion fairy tale hoax. So we'll see. We're going to be guided by the facts as this thing goes forward. And I can't stop the, leave the truck here without thanking the president. The president.
Okay, we got him, you guys. We got the pipe bomber. So let's go over to Mario Narwhals. Mario says January 6th pipe bomber kept buying bomb materials after the attack. They finally got him. Brian J. Cole Jr., age 30 of Woodbridge, Virginia, was arrested Thursday morning for allegedly planting pipe bombs outside both the RNC and the DNC headquarters on January 5th, 2021, the night before the Capitol riot. The FBI tracked Cole through meticulous financial forensics. Court documents reveal he purchased bomb components from Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, and Micro Center throughout 2019 and 2020. So throughout 2019, he started buying bomb making materials before we knew the results of the election. That's interesting. Galvanized pipes, end caps, 9-volt batteries connector, 9-volt battery connectors, kitchen timers, electrical wire, steel wool, and tools. Okay. Almost all of that I have in my shed that I'm an audio video guy. I'm a hoarder. I'm a hoarder of like things that I think might be useful, like that certain length piece of wood with a single nail through it. I hold on to that crap. Almost all of that stuff. I don't have galvanized pipes and end caps, but I have all the other stuff. I even have a kitchen timer, electrical wire, plenty of that, steel wool, plenty of that, tools, yep, plenty of that, 9-volt batteries, yep, plenty of those. Like that's your evidence. Cell tower data placed Cole's phone near the RNC and DNC between 7:39 p.m. and 8:24 p.m. on January 5th. Not at, but near. Okay. A license plate recorder caught his Nissan Sentra less than half a mile from where the devices were planted at 7:10 p.m. Okay. 5 minutes after the bomb, 5 minutes after the bomber was first observed on foot, Cole's phone pinged towers in the area. Most disturbing, Cole continued buying bomb-making materials after January 6th. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi says, today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case priority. Right. After that Blaze article came out, the total lack of movement in the case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust. Nearly five years. One of the biggest unsolved cases from January 6th, solved in months under new leadership. Okay, the source is the FBI affidavit and the New York Post. Okay, let's keep going here. Let's see what Kash Patel has to say about this. He's talking with Donald Trump Jr. here.
Based on the publication of the press conference, that yes, there were tips in there clues in there that we keyed in on, like the sneakers, like the height, like the appearance. And we refined those images. And we also used our brilliant CAS system. And what that is our cell phone analytic capability to go back and say, who was in the area? And also, why wasn't this discovered before? It's not like we recreated the cell phone data from 5 years ago. People just sat on it. And that's your point. They decided not to do anything. We took the opposite approach. And look where we are today. We arrested the January 6th pipe bomber. Based on the...
So Kash is pretty confident. I don't trust Kash at all. I didn't trust Kash before he became the FBI director. Sorry, I haven't even checked the chat over on Rumble. Northside, how's it going, man? I know, it's been a while. You are reading this wrong, coach. It's the new ICE training and procedures on handling angry lesbians. They are trained to shoot first and discuss it later. I don't believe these tall tales, coach, until I see the mech armor or whatever they used. Yeah, I'm with you. Tim Holiday, good evening. Nice to see you. All right, let's keep going here. So one of the reasons, okay, so hold on. Let me just read this from Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith, who I talked about earlier. If you guys don't know, Harrison Smith is part of InfoWars. He was the first person to come out in August and say that he has inside information saying that Charlie Kirk is worried that Israel is going to take him out. So Harrison Smith's the one that like started this whole shitstorm with that. So he says, so we have no updates on the J6 pipe bomber for 5 years. Then independent reports determined that it was most likely a Capitol police officer / CIA operative. And a week later, we have an arrest of a random anarchist. Incredible. So I'm right there with him on that one. It's funny to me. So somebody that has been looking into this pipe bomber thing more than anybody else, including the FBI, if you ask me, is Thomas Massey. I have a feeling, Gemini, that you're not a huge fan of Thomas Massey. Maybe you are. Thomas Massey, in my opinion, is the only person in government on the left or on the right that can be trusted. He's the only I won't even get into the Massey stuff right now, but this is a clip from Thomas Massey doing an interview that I posted a few months ago. Back in November. So there's a bit of a long, it's like 3.5 minutes, but I want to play the whole thing here. So let's watch.
Well, actually, just before that conversation, there was a second letter from this whistleblower's attorney sent to you and Congressman Loudermilk saying that they had become aware that the FBI was going to do a mole search and look for this guy.
Yeah.
So Gemini, I wonder if he's a patsy. I 100% think he's a patsy. I also think Thomas Crooks was a patsy. Plenty of other people that I thought were a patsy. Possibly Tyler Robinson being a patsy. You saw other videos about the cop lady being a suspect. Not only was she a cop, she was a Capitol Police officer, and then she quit the Capitol Police and started working at the CIA. And her evidence to say that she wasn't there was a video of her playing with puppies.
Okay. So Bongino did tell me, look, tomorrow we're going to round up everybody that was involved in this investigation. We're going to get them all in a room. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And he didn't say we're trying to find the whistleblower.
Mm-hmm.
No. But my spidey sense went off, and I almost said to him in that moment, you better not be trying to find the whistleblower.
Right.
Because law protects that individual. But I didn't say it.
So,
okay.
So there was somebody within the FBI that was leaking information to Thomas Massie about this J6 pipe bomb investigation. Then Dan Bongino comes to Massie and he's like, look, we're going to round up everybody that's involved in this investigation and we're going to question them, mainly implying that they're trying to find who's leaking the information. It's like, wait a minute. Like, the person leaking the information is actually providing Thomas Massie with videos and trying to actually further this investigation, because it seemed like it was being buried. It seemed like nobody wanted to actually know who dropped off these pipe bombs was. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about that. Nobody wanted to know it. And Massie kept pressing the issue. Dan Bongino comes to him like, we're going to find out who's leaking the info. Massie's like, wait a minute, what the fuck?
Also, I'm going to say this here on camera because it's important. One of Kash Patel's staff threatened my staff with a criminal investigation if we didn't straighten up and play ball.
Oh, how interesting. One of Kash Patel's staff is going after one of Massie's staff because they are investigating the J6 pipe bomber. Huh. I wonder why he would do that if they're really trying to get to the bottom of this.
I was going to ask you about that, but since you brought it up, and I didn't,
I'm bringing it up.
Okay, you brought it up.
And so, like a criminal investigation having nothing to do, he said it was going to be a fraud. We're going to investigate one of your staff for fraud. Right. And he told another one of my staff this: if you guys don't straighten up, if you want to play hardball, if this is how you want to play it or something like that, this member of your staff is going to get criminally investigated for fraud. A very specific threat.
Right.
And that had just happened. So I told Bongino, I said, one of your guys is threatening my guys with an FBI investigation. Yeah. If we don't do what you want. And he said, I'll take care of that. I'll take care of that. Because even he understood that was not a good look. It's probably illegal, right? So the fallout of that is the FBI employee who threatened my staff. I have to tell you all this, by the way, Steve, and I have to tell all the listeners this, because this is the context in which I'm worried for the whistleblower. Mm-hmm. If they're willing to retaliate against a congressional office, which has speech or debate immunity and a lot of other protections, they may be willing to retaliate against a whistleblower.
Right.
So the person who had made the threat to one of my staff through another staff, he sent a text. I got a copy of the text that said, Massie told Bongino, I have to apologize to you, or I should apologize to you. And then he said, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. He didn't apologize. He was unrepentant, let's say, really, that kind of non-apology.
Right.
And so that's the context in which when Bongino said, I'm going to have a big powwow, I'm pulling everybody in.
Yeah.
My spidey sense went off. Well, a few hours later, I get this second disclosure from the whistleblower attorney who says, we think they're going after the whistleblower because they're having this big giant meeting. Mm-hmm. Well, I had knowledge that a big giant meeting was happening.
Right.
So this comported with And then I also had knowledge my own staff was being threatened.
Yeah.
So I took the attorney's letter seriously.
So yeah, Massey, who's been pushing this issue since January 6th for years, who planted the pipe bombs. He's the one that's been pushing this issue more than anybody. And no traction from the FBI, none whatsoever, until the Blaze comes out with this article saying that we used forensics to identify who we think dropped off the pipe bombs. And it analyzed how people walked, like the gait. And it determined with a high probability that it was likely this female Capitol police officer who later went and worked at the CIA. Like 5 days later, the FBI is like, oh, we got him. We got who the pipe bomber is. And then the Blaze has to retract their story. Very, very weird. Very strange timing. As soon as the Capitol police officer gets implicated, no. It was actually this, again, autistic dude that worked at a bail bonds office with his dad, who was into My Little Ponies and wore Crocs and went walking with his dog every day. And all of his neighbors are saying, like, there's no way he did this. Like, there's no way. So yeah, dude looks like a patsy to me. So there's a picture of him right here. So the defense demands, his defense attorney demands pipe bomb suspect Brian Cole Jr. be immediately released due to the preliminary hearing and no valid indictment. His continued detention is illegal. So he's being held like without bond, defense attorney says. And Thomas Massey says the judge should release autistic J6 pipe bomber suspect Brian Cole Jr. No credible motive, presents danger to no one, flimsy evidence, no priors, willing to wear a tracker under house arrest, family will vouch, and DOJ botched the legal work. Irreparable harm to him otherwise. So yeah, seems very weird. And the fact that Dan Bongino is the one seemingly pushing this J6 pipe bomber dude the most, like, we got him, guys, him and Kash Patel posting it the most. It's just like Dan Bongino's lost all credibility with me. And now after he resigns with saying that, Epstein did it, or Epstein didn't kill him, or Epstein killed himself, guys. Epstein absolutely killed himself, even though months before or years before, he was saying that, you really got to watch this story. Epstein was, in bed with a foreign government in the Middle East. He said that on Tim Pool's show. So Dan and Dave Smith got into it back and forth. Here, we'll get into that in a minute. I'll play the Dan Bongino clips first. So this is Dan Bongino on Tim Pool's show.
A year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it. But the short story, but not who they are, says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense.
All right, so this is polar opposite from what Dan Bongino is saying now. He's saying that he worked for a foreign intelligence agency in the Middle East, and that intelligence agency actually has a lot of these videos and files that are used to blackmail politicians and world leaders and celebrities and heads of industry in order to, toe the line and do what they tell him. He's buying in completely to that story. He's saying it's a completely plausible explanation. That's what he's saying here in 2023 on Tim Pool's podcast.
Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who's a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right?
He worked with Israel. He worked with Saudi Arabia. He worked with the CIA, Agnon Khashoggi, Iran-Contra, all that shit.
Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So the point is, to sum it up, How do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions? Because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right? How do you know?
100%.
I mean, that.
Exactly, right? All right, let's go to another clip of Dan Bongino. Here's him talking about it in 2023.
Listen, that Jeffrey Epstein story is a big deal. Please do not let that story go. Keep your eye on this. Catherine Rumler, we need to keep the heat on this case, folks. There are a lot of people who are knee deep in the Washington swamp who are not telling you the truth about serious allegations out there that Epstein may have had video and audio of people out there doing things they shouldn't have been doing. And you should be asking yourself the question, how is it that all these people, the CIA director, the Obama fixer, Bill Clinton, all intersected paths with Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein isn't with us anymore, and nobody seems to want to talk about it outside of a few entrepreneurial media outlets saying, hey, this is a big deal.
So basically saying that Epstein was taken out. Okay, here he is in 2025.
He killed himself. You want me to get, I've seen the whole file.
And look at the change in demeanor. This is like a hostage video, him right here. Like, he looks like somebody is standing behind that curtain holding with a rifle aimed at him. Like, the whole demeanor is different.
He killed himself.
Listen,
okay. Smokey the Bastard over on YouTube. Nice to see you. Deport Gavin Newsom. I agree. Dan caught something kissing the wall. Yeah, it's seeming that way. Dan is the loser of 2026. Yeah, Retard Finder over on X was trying to find a nominee for Retard of the Year. And I think Dan is definitely going to be in the front running for 2026 for sure. So, yeah, this is so here's Dave Smith talking about it, and this is what started a shitstorm between Dave Smith and Dan Bongino. Let's listen to Dave talk about it.
We watched you lie through your teeth. Look, he said, I've seen the files. He killed himself. I just want you to think about this, okay? Dan Bongino, after talking about this all the time, and you saw him right there in the clip saying, don't let up. Don't let up on the Epstein thing. We got to keep talking about this. None of this makes sense. What you didn't see there is he even went as far as one time on the Tim Pool show. He said, I have it on good authority that Jeffrey Epstein worked for Middle Eastern intelligence. Could be any of those Middle Eastern countries, of course. But so he said all that. Then he goes in there. He says, I've seen the files. He killed himself. That was approximately 2 months before the official position of the administration was that the files don't exist. So he said he's seen the files and he killed himself. And by the way, as you know, because we followed this whole crazy train, right? You know, the end result of it is that the bill passed. The files are to be released. Great. So now we all get to see it, right? I mean, I understand they just missed a deadline, but of course, this administration is that they ran on being the most transparent administration in history, right? So we're going to get all that information. So this will be great. So let's see what Dan Bongino saw. I mean, Dan Bongino, by the way, you're coming back to podcasting now. The files have been declassified. I'm not a lawyer, but pretty sure you can tell us now. It's not classified information anymore. You can tell us exactly what you saw, exactly how you were able to look the American people in the eye and guarantee and promise that he killed himself. And you know that for a fact.
Yeah, so I got this tinfoil theory that Dan Bongino didn't actually resign. Somebody came to him and said, you know how you can best serve your country, best serve the FBI, best serve the CIA and the deep state? So if you went back to podcasting, you're still going to work for us unofficially and toe the line, present a narrative. It's like they got something on Dan now. It's like they're holding something over his head. They found out something about him that they could use as blackmail because he is not the same person at all. I used to listen to Dan's show every freaking day on the way home from work, and he is not the same person. He is not saying the same shit that he used to say. He's totally flipped.
I mean, you must have seen some really strong evidence in order to know that for a fact. What we've seen so far is a fake AI image of Epstein attempting to kill himself in some way in his cell, but it was clearly determined that that wasn't a real video. So what is it that you saw, Dan? I mean, look, dude, if you want to come back into this world, in this world here, as you knew before you went into government, in this world, the currency is honesty. The currency is the truth. So tell us, man. You went into government, looked us all in the eye, and made up a big fat fucking lie that you don't know. And you know it. You know you did that. So now you think you're going to be the one to come back into this, the podcasting game, and you're going to be policing this space, the black pillars? Like, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but fuck you, Dan. This is not going to go well for him. So Dan and Dave got into a big back and forth on Twitter, and let's just I don't even need to share this with you guys. Like, you're not going to read along with me, but Dan Bongino replied. They got in a huge back and forth. So it's so annoying how Dave always reposts everything because you can't. It's hard to track it. So Dan Bongino says the lib/black pillars. Let me read the whole thing. The lib/black pillar symbolizes. The lib/black pillar symbiote is a funny little organism. It's even led by a comedian. These morons can't even follow their own battle plan. Quick example. I do a guest hit last night on a podcast, and the LBP symbiote starts rage tweeting, "No one is going to watch." When it was the #1 live stream in its slot, the LBP symbiote melted down again, claiming that was us there to attack. Do these clowns know how this business works? And when you point it out here on X, a bunch of dipshits they start rage engaging again. I've been dealing with these tools for 15 years, and this is why they always implode. They're just too stupid to coordinate. Today's lesson is concluded. Thanks for reading. Yeah, but the very people he's talking shit to, calling lib black pillar symbiotes, are a lot of the very people that were supporting him and watching his show before, because he was saying, like, we need to figure out who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes. That's the kind of shit he was saying before. Now he's like, oh, I had the biggest show before I became the assistant deputy FBI director. Yeah, but then you came out and said Epstein definitely killed himself. We got the J6 pipe bomber. And now it seems like you're just towing the company line. You don't seem like the same person. I don't think you're just going to be able to slide back into your old time slot and just be the same guy you were before. So Dave reposts this and he says, yeah, nice story. Why did you lie through your teeth about Epstein? Dan responds, hilarious that you not only missed the news cycle for the last year. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dave Smith didn't miss the news cycle, but that you were also knew you were the moron referenced in the post. Watching you advertise your dipshittery on a series of debates over the last year was my guilty pleasure while I was working. Dave's debates over the last, Dave wrecked everybody who he debated against. Like, what are you talking about? Like, really? Okay, we'll keep going. Now you go back to your mama's spare room and write me some. Now go back to your mama's spare room and write me some jokes, and then get your shine box too. My shoes got a scuff in them last night while lighting up live stream with you, where you clowns were rage posting. Get your shine box. You're really making like a Goodfellas reference, or what was that, Casino? Like, really? That's what you're doing? And didn't that guy end up getting killed? The guy that told Joe Pesci to go get a shine box? Okay. Anyway. All right. We'll go back. So Dave reposts him again. He reposts that. He says, we all knew you were talking about me. You were just too much of a bitch to say my name. That's wild that you had the time to watch my debates with all of that demands of your work. We're covering up what with all of the demands of your work covering up pedophilia, which will be your legacy. Make no mistake about it. Dan Bongino says, your family and kids must be ecstatic that their last name is Smith so they can blend in with the millions of other Smiths out there and pretend they don't know you. Imagine being dumb enough to post what you just did publicly and then pretend it isn't copium. You're scared. I can smell it from here. Now go get your shine box, like I told you. Like, Dan really seems to think that he's coming off as tough right here, but he's not. He's coming across as a bitch, if you ask me. Last one. Dave says, holy fucking crash out. Are you seriously posting about my children at 7 a.m.? Keep repeating your dumbass boomer Shinebox line. I'm not the only one who got ordered to go lie. I'm not the one who got ordered to go lie to the public and said, yes, sir. Scared? Come see me, bitch. I will end your career and you know it. Run away, little girl. And Dan says, tell your family to blink twice if they need my help. I'll get right over there. Like, what is this? You really think you're coming across good here? Let's read some of the replies to him. Sneeko says you're literally a Fed covering for Epstein. It's weird. This is from Jordan Crowder. Says it's weird that you keep talking about his family. Chase Geyser, Dan, I will challenge you to a lawful duel under Texas Penal Code 22.06. Comrade Misty is Putin's buddy, says, you're such a piece of shit. Stop bringing up his family and debate him like a fucking man. This soy boy bullshit is embarrassing. Yeah, he's just getting ripped to shreds in the comments. So I don't know what the hell is going on with Dan Bongino. Shit, my battery's about to die. Oh, I might have to end this stream early. I don't know what's going on with my power. Uh-oh. I might have an issue. I might have an issue with my power on my computer, folks. Yeah, I actually think I do got to end the stream there because my computer's going to shut off at any moment, and I need to figure out. I haven't streamed in so long. I don't know why this is doing that. Hopefully, it's not an issue with my battery again. All right, not 2 hours, but it's long enough. So, yeah, that's all I got for the night. Smokey the Bastard, they gave him money. I think it's more than money, bro. Of course, Dan is talking about kids since he didn't protect any from the Epstein's list. Yeah, I know. It's incredible. All right, folks, that is all I got for this evening. I didn't even have time to get to the Iran stuff. Maybe we'll get to that next Sunday. I will be back here next Sunday at 6 o'clock. Hope you guys can join. Hopefully, I'll be a little more consistent moving forward. And courtesy of Danger here in the chat, I got a brand new Chuck Norris book. Check it out. Best book ever written. Version 2. Volume 2, I should say. So this is Chuck Norris Cannot Be Stopped. All right. Before we get out of here, I got to read a quote from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. That used to be this one, but now it is Chuck Norris Cannot Be Stopped because I got a brand new book full of jokes. All right, everybody. Smokey the Bastard, Gemini, Wally World, Danger. What else we got here? Then over on Rumble, Northside, Tim Holiday. Thank you guys for hanging out. Very glad you could join. And again, I apologize for being gone for so long. You guys are my small but loyal audience, and I greatly appreciate all of you. So, all right, here it is. Chuck Norris joke of the evening, folks. You know how it is. You know the rules. I just open up the book. My eyes go to a random joke. We read it. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's not. All right, here it is. Chuck Norris joke of the evening. Once a year, the National Undertakers Union holds a party in honor of Chuck Norris. And on that note, stay CaliBased.